Nice. Right on. Hello. Let's see if we can see your hands. See my hands. Hello, everybody. If you're tuning in today, this is our weekly bass lesson. This is Paul.
Hola.
And I'm Wago. Well, we're going to just jump right into it. If you haven't tuned, please tune already. If you need an explanation, go back to last week's explanation. We'll get that. So one of the things we're going to do today is do a quick recap of what we did last week. And what we did last week was we talked about our spider exercises, meaning we're going to take our first finger, put it on the first fret. I've got a 5 string. So if you're watching at home, just disregard this 5. Play on your lowest string. First finger on this hand and then first finger on the other hand. And when you do it, you're going to want to pluck through and let that finger fall back on the string below it. Since you're playing on the lowest E string, you're going to kind of want to just rest your finger above on the top of the stock or on your pickup. I prefer to rest it just above and not do anything because it'll get you ready for just being able to be versatile over the whole thing without having to like be Humpty Dumpty sitting on a wall here. Can we do a spider exercise and show the people at home what's going on? Be off a little bit and not play the note. And you fret it, catch it. And what happens in music, if you're not always 100% on the beat where the rhythm is, you can sometimes catch yourself doing that rather than just stopping playing and then starting back again. So what we do when we're practicing for the first month or two, we play with a click track. It sets this rhythm so you know exactly how fast you're going. Let's try hearing the click track faster, but do the same rhythm. So that same rhythm was still 1, 2. No, see, that would be faster. So let's just hear this as being. So it's counting the quarters now. Ready?
Okay. Well, I'm not matching them.
Matching up. Ready? With a 1, 2, ready, and I can go with you. Ready? Nice. So the idea is you can use that to your advantage. The double click is a little fast, it's double the tempo, but I enjoy it because it just really ingrains that quarter note in your brain, which is almost all music's 4/4 that we're going to be playing. Rock and roll, blues, jazz, everything else. One of the things that we concentrate on too is being able to go through that slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2. Doing 1 pluck on here with our first finger. If we double it up and we do 2 plucks per measure, that means we'd be doing half notes. Can we try that? It would look like this: 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Right? Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So here's where we come into the practice part. If what we started off with, the whole notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. If what we started off with, the whole notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. A little too fast. Or it's perfect, but the half notes were a little too fast. Try slowing down that whole note pattern. So it'd be weird, but we'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, and we go through that pattern, and then we go to the half notes. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And always completing the thought. So in the morning when you're doing your 5 and at night when you're doing your 5, that's really all you need to do. The thing you want to make sure you're doing with the spiders is that you're using the tip top of the finger. You can lay your finger down flat to do the same thing, but having your finger directly over the top of it does this thing where you're kind of coming over the top. In music, you don't have direct half steps. A half step or two, but mostly it's a combination of whole steps, half steps, whole steps, and half steps, which We play a scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We've got something that we basically see as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there quite literally are only 7 notes in a major scale. That 8th note is the exact same as the first, right? So if we start our first finger on the 3rd fret on the lowest string, we get a G. Now what happens when we play this G? We can play this G with any finger that we want to. Can you give me a G note there? Cool. So what I practice on is doing these with each finger. So my first finger over here, and then my second finger over here with my first finger, then my third finger over here, and my first finger on my right, and then my pinky. Wonderful. And since we already learned what to do inside of our spider exercises as far as rhythms, how they basically stack on top of each other, a whole note takes all 4 beats. A half note is 2 beats. A quarter note is 1 beat. An 8th note shares that beat. So it would be 2 8th notes inside the beat of 1 quarter beat. And then a 16th note would be 4 of those inside the beat of a 1 quarter. So when we're doing this, if we have something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. The last one, the 16 notes, are a little bit weird because it does start involving your other fingers. But if we go slow enough with anything, we can then speed it up. Groovy? Here we go. So we're going to take that first note and play just the pluck with the right finger. We're going to take our second finger, play a pluck with the finger, third finger. There we go. And then the pinky. Granted, you won't be using the pinky all that often doing these kind of movements. However, building the muscles inside that pinky is great because it then becomes a player with the other ones. So where we are is if we're in the key of G right there, we've got G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. What we're going to do right now is talk about that do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, and do. But we're not going to do it up the headstock like you just saw, C major. And because C major has no sharps and flats, meaning when I say them out loud, I don't say C sharp, D flat, E natural. They're all just natural notes. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. It's easier for he and I to communicate about that. So we're going to take our first finger, put it on the 3rd fret as well, but we're going to put it right above the G note on the C note. G over to C. There we go. And the difference is that note right above it is the 4th. So if I had G as my 1, A is my 2, wonderful. And then going up here, we would have that as our 3rd. Wonderful. And then a half step brings that right to our C. And we hopped up to the other string. So let's check this out. We're going to play just the C. And I know it's probably that 5th fret throwing you off. That's one, yeah. Let's go. Here. Let me do this too. And then, so if we have our C note right here, right? What we're going to have is a C. We're going to play a finger on the 5th fret on the same string. Same string. Yep, same string. There you go. And because we have a 1 that E to E, it's a half step to the E to F. Cool? So what we're quite literally doing is we're playing a 1. And let's start it on the 3rd fret, first finger, and just walk it. We're going to walk it all the way up. Ready? C goes a whole step to D. There it is. D goes a whole step to E. There it is. E is going to go a half step to F. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay on that note there and go. Cool. Then we have another half step. Whole step. Another whole step. And then another whole step. That brings us to our one more. And see how we're right here? If we do this and we go back all the way to our original note, it is 1 octave. And that note that we got done playing just happens to be the note way up here on the furthest string away. Wonderful. Great, I love that too. It would feel super weird to do that, so we don't even try to do these 2 fingers from the 1 to the 2. We generally try and keep a finger and an open fret in between. And the idea is what you're playing there is a C, a G, the major 3rd, or the minor 3rd. 1, 2, 3, 4, right up here on the board is going to correlate with that super well. I got to keep that. Beautiful soul.
Great song.
Yeah, I will memorize the name of that. Beautiful soul. Right down here. Well, so what I'm going to write out is going to be the idea of, can we see the board? Good grief, that's white.
Not really.
You might be able to see when I write up there with the marker. So what we're going to be able to see here is our 1, our 2, our 3, our 4, our 5, our 6, and our 7. Now, these are all super awesome and special. 7's our most special. We'll talk about that later. But what I want to point out is that our 2, our 3, and our 6 are special because they're minor, and our 1, 4, and 5 are major. That'll play a big part in the role when we're talking about what chords are. Chords are made out of 3 notes rather than just 1. And on a bass, you don't see many basses playing chord structures, but it does help with fretboard recognition. So what we're going to do is we're going to spend a little time on that during this series. But for right now, I'm just going to write up here our already natural notes. Do you remember how many sharps and flats there are in the key of C?
2.
No, there are none.
What? None. C, none.
In D, yeah. C, D, E, F, G, A, and then B. I'm going to draw my little diminished sign there, and we can forget about that for a minute. But the reason why I'm drawing these as lowercase is because they're minor. I could put a little jazz minus there to show that they're minor, and then the uppercase is going to be major. After a few of these sessions, we're going to stop doing the lowercase and the uppercase. They're all going to be uppercase because we're going to know collectively that when we play a 1 position, it's a major chord. When we play a 4 position, it's a major chord, and a 5 position. The other ones will be minor, and what that just simply means is we flatten the 3rd, and it makes it sound. We're then going to take this C note right here. We're going to go up with our pinky or our 3rd, depending on how big your hands are, and we're going to play that next note. What is that next note if the first one was C?
D.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What we're see them and then be able to play them and understand why. Sometimes you have music that does